Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of E-Commerce Marketing Chats with myself, Charles, Jimmy, and we've got a special guest today, Hursh. How's it going,
You,
mate?
mate, it's excellent and always a pleasure to speak to you boys and see you boys, even though it doesn't happen nowhere near often enough.
Good stuff.
Absolutely. Just a bit of background on the main man Hirsch. So we were all part of, I guess, the same business community early on. I think Hirsch was the envy of everyone. He was a sales master. I think I used to see his updates and like, man, I wish I could sell like this guy because things would just be skyrocketing. Hirsch has exited a really successful agency and now moving into the e-commerce side, which we're excited to chat about because he's really in the kind of the beginning stages of it, I would say. So just launched this year, and Hirsch, if you just want to give us a quick little rundown of the actual business itself, and yeah, we'll probably pepper you with many questions on your e-commerce journey so far, and just a little intro on yourself as well.
Yeah, for sure. So, basically, yeah, obviously 10 years ago when we all kind of joined that the freedom business community with the great man Tim. My first business it started off as a web design and SEO agency for generating leads for tradespeople, so tradies here in Australia. That fairly quickly like evolved into like a full service digital marketing agency here based in Perth. We rebranded to Aligned Agency a few years later. Um, and we actually had like it was still all in the lead gen space. So Google ads, SEO, like high converting website design, development, landing pages, Facebook ads, like, some like Facebook, Instagram ads, LinkedIn ads, that sort of stuff. And then basically, we grew it out quite successfully over like a 8.5, 9 year period. And then I actually sold it to my mentor, this guy called Bodhi from a company called Dialite Digital. So Dialite were the largest privately owned digital marketing company in Western Australia, and they're probably one of the biggest in Australia as well. There was just awesome alignment there. I was kind of coming to the end of the journey because I felt like I'd sort of been there and done that because it was a pretty awesome ride. So exited in May June 2024. But sort of what kind of inspired that actually was so I've been into like hiking, outdoor adventure, mountaineering, that sort of stuff for a long time. And then basically late 2023, me and a bunch of like my really close mates went on a Himalayan expedition for about 35 days, which was pretty hardcore. It was pretty crazy. And before we went on there, obviously like the business was running quite well, which is why I could go away for sort of 6 weeks, like just to complete remote anywhere and not check anything, which was nice. But I was kind of at the point where I was like looking for, I think deep down in my soul, I wanted like a new challenge and I wanted something that was like, brand new. There was a podcast, I don't know if you guys know, it's called the Frankie Lee podcast. I was listening to it like a while ago. And then basically like he had this guy on there called Danny Buck, who runs a company called Crafted Jewelry, which is like a really successful jewelry brand in the UK. And he was just talking about his own journey from like agency into e-commerce. And that just kind of switched something in me because I just like I sort of saw agency world as it is. I mean, God, I sometimes miss those days now because, as you know, like, mate, getting an e-commerce business off the ground is such a grind and there is absolutely zero cash flow. And you're just like shoveling money into like a burning engine until like something kind of cracks through. Whereas, like, at least with an agency, you're cash flow positive literally from day one. So I'm just like, why the fuck did I do this? Anyway, um, but I was like listening to that podcast and like heard his sort of transition. It lit something in my soul that I really wanted to move to e-com, and I kind of just felt like I was done with my agency journey as well. Um, and then basically like the company still kept running really well. I was still enjoying it, quite a bit. And then the opportunity to sort of sell, like, kind of came up. But when I was in the Himalayas, I had that thought in my mind, and it wasn't like I was looking for an idea, but what sort of happened was like we had just come down from the third mountain that we attempted to summit. So we summited the first two and then we couldn't quite get there on the third one because we were just destroyed by this point. And the Himalayas is like a brutal environment for anyone. And like we saw so many people that were like altitude sick, really bad flus, really fatigued, really run down, adrenals just cooked, like just people were just cooked. Like the technical term was absolutely cooked in every single way possible. But weirdly, like aside from the fatigue and just the sheer altitude and the exhaustion, which is pretty normal, like me and like my mate Cam and we're all like completely fine. And we like one of the things that we took with us like on that trip was just like a very carefully crafted like regimen of like supplements, because you really need it up there because your diets are so limited. You're at high altitude. You're literally eating like, spam and raw pasta with like some shitty tomato sauce and like chocolate bars and just like anything like, very micronutrition devoid. Um, but I took like multivitamins, magnesium supplements, curcumin supplements, probiotics, like, you just you name it, because I was just like, that is going to be like a critical difference there when you actually have like proper deficiencies. But it was such a nightmare to manage, man. Like, it was just the worst thing of all time, because like the last thing you want to do is like just manage all that sort of stuff. And like nutritional management on like expeditions, adventures, ultra marathons, any of that kind of thing is like literally, it's the thing that make or breaks anything. Like, you try and run a marathon even, and like, you'll bonk like 35 Ks in, hit the wall. It's probably because you've just like underfueled, or you just haven't hit your carb strategy properly and that kind of thing. It's like the same thing, but for all types of nutrition on these expeditions. And then we were walking down and I was having a chat to Cam and I was like, man, surely something exists that like makes this actually easy for outdoor adventurers. Like it was just like, because it was just such a pain in the ass, but we're glad we did it. And then kind of like it was like my man, like it was like my soul left my body, went through like a flight through the universe and came back, and I just saw this entire vision of like everything we had to put out into the universe, like just kind of come back, and it was just like, whoa, like aha kind of moment. And then as soon as I said like, man, we need to create the ultimate like all-in-one supplement, not just for like people's massive adventures, but for like their adventurous like daily lives as well. Because we couldn't find anything in all of our research that existed up until then. And then he kind of saw the vision sort of straight away, and he's a professional adventurer, he's a big creator, and like he had like, some massive adventures kind of coming up, and it was something that he struggled with like a lot. So as soon as we got back to Perth, it was like still running the agency and that sort of stuff, but we just got to work like straight away, man. We just like contacted like a dietitian and like a sports nutritionist, and found a local supplement manufacturer in like Perth, in here in Western Australia. And we just got to work like just super quickly because we're really passionate about it. And yeah, the more research we did, literally, like we just could not find bloody anything that like suited this space. And then yeah, like 6 months later, we created it. And there's a great photo of like, we rocked up to the manufacturers on the day that Cam was leaving for the biggest adventure of his life, which was the Pacific Crest Trail, hiking from Mexico to Canada, which was 5,000 kilometers. And then, which is crazy. So we picked up the trial manufacturing run of our first ever product about 6 hours before his flight. And there's a photo of us just like holding these Ziploc bags full of just like unmarked, unlabeled pills. And he had to like find a way to get them into the US. And he did, because we put it in like other supplement bottles, basically. So got it over, and then the journey basically started. And then literally from there, he like walked for 5 months straight, had the best adventure of his life, no injuries, no inflammation, no gut issues, no sickness, no absolutely nothing, which is like, so there's like a breakout of like what's called norovirus on trail as well. He like didn't catch it, like just smashed it. In that time, I was sending product out to that product out to different people. One of the guys was a guy called Mitch Hutchcraft, who we met when we were in the Himalayas as well, and he was on a journey to break the Guinness World Record of the longest triathlon from the UK to the top of Everest. So he swam across the English Channel, rode his bike all the way to Kathmandu, hiked from Kathmandu to Everest Base Camp, and then climbed Everest, which is psycho. So he started using Optiventure, and like this on his YouTube videos, he's like popping these random like yellow pills like in the thing, and like there was a bunch of other adventurers, and man, all the reports came back so good. And then we decided to like just do like an MOQ run at this Perth manufacturer, which was like a TGA listed one, and super grateful for them. It was very expensive because they don't normally do like quantities as low as we wanted, because we just like, the market actually needs to want this. And then yeah, we just did like an organic launch in February of this year. It was 150 units. We sold out in like 24 hours. It went to like 13 countries around the world, which is crazy. And people are paying like, like insane import fees for it as well. So we just like, we know we've created something that like really strikes a nerve. And then from there, like we're out of stock, because at that point, we, rather than just like contracting out like, a lot of the nutrition and the scientific sort of side of things, we're like, we want to take this really seriously. So we brought on board Jess Barlow, who's like a like a really specialized like nutritionist and food scientist that actually specializes in long distance expeditions and hiking as like a shareholder in the business. So we work closely together with her. We've got a couple other experts. This lady called Kirsty from Cultured Wellness. She's like one of Australia's like most insane and famous kind of gut health experts, and she's also an adventure guide, which worked perfectly. And then a supplement manufacturer in the US, Hannah. She's a long distance hiker and she's a sports nutritionist as well. So we had this like epic team of people that just knew exactly what they were doing. And then, yeah, we reformulated version 2, which Jimmy is now an esteemed customer. Obviously, he's officially our favorite customer because he's going to be
It's
training for
it's on it's on the way, and I am training for a marathon, so I'm keen to see how it goes. So when I say I use the word training very loosely because I had a pretty bad ankle injury for the last year, so I actually punched out a half marathon this morning, so feeling it a little bit, but yeah, looking forward to testing it out, man. So yeah, for sure.
It's literally, and that's the thing. So, like, we launched it again. So we launched it a week and a half ago now. I think it's been like 7 days since we launched version 2. Like the launch always does, like, the launch was amazing as always. And you get like a billion Shopify notifications and you've got the dopamine hit of scrolling through all your Shopify things, like, on your home feed of your phone. But then like anything, it's just like, you've got all these incredible early adopters that just like are bought into the brand and bought into the vision and like have a very specific use case for it. And you've communicated with them every single week for like a 6 month period via email newsletters. And we had a really active and beautiful Facebook group as well of just like awesome people. And like that went bang, it launched really well. And then like obviously now it's like 10 days in and now like it's just gone down to like a full trickle because everyone that was gonna grab it, like off the rip, kind of got it. And then yeah, now it's basically and I've just had such a bad run with Facebook ads accounts because I had no idea at my agency, my personal Facebook profile, because some of my staff were using an ad account based on my personal Facebook profile to run a few ads and that kind of thing. There was some random policy violation that I didn't act on in 6 months, so it just permanently banned my old Facebook profile from running ads on any ad account. So I created a new one. Then the new one we created under the Australian company, but then we became an American company. And then because of that one got banned as well. So then we finally, like 2 days ago, actually got like a working meta ads account. So now I'm in the fun process of like running meta ads for the first time in my entire life for an e-commerce brand. And I've got no idea what I'm doing.
Mate, it sounds like man, the few. Well, firstly, thanks for that rundown, Hirsch. That's
So
epic.
like I said the whole thing.
No, no, that's epic. But there's probably a few major kind of key points that I took for that. One, probably the biggest one is you're really passionate about the product that you're selling, which I find some e-commerce store owners get in it for the money and their kind of motivation is very short-lived when they hit kind of those trickling points where you're talking about they're all excited about the initial rush on launch, but then when things trickle off, I find their motivation trickles off too. So but one of the early, so some of the questions I have around the marketing stuff and the things that you've done to grow this, I was on the initial email list and I was wanting to get the version 1 to test it out. And I was like, oh, I've just seen the email. I'll come back and purchase it. By the time I came back, they were already sold out. So kudos to you guys on that. But how did you guys go from idea to like building that initial list?
Yeah. So now this is like obviously nothing's possible. So my business partner in this, Cam, he's like so look, I do have like the fact of the matter is like I do have a cheat code, which is like my business partner Cam has just like amassed such an incredible audience over the years because he's like not only is he like one of the best, if not the best through hiker on planet Earth, he wouldn't allow me to call him the best one because he's a super humble dude, but he's just so good at documenting the journeys and inspiring other people to do the same. Like, just get outdoors and just experience everything. So, he's got like over 500,000 followers on Instagram. He's doing pretty well on TikTok, that kind of thing as well. So the product, funnily enough, like having a massive influencer business partner as well, isn't like it's obviously a massive advantage, but it's not the level of advantage as you think. It's not like it's 2018 and anyone with an audience can just like launch a brand and just do $1 million launch kind of thing. The market is just so saturated now, and like especially the supplement space requires so much trust that like we from like a few collaborative posts that he basically did talking about the product, and we were kind of documenting the journey sort of along the way on our socials, like not every single day like a lot of people do, like it's like day one of building a supplement brand. We didn't do that. It's not really our style, but I mean, respect to people that do that. I think it's awesome. I love watching it as well. So from a few collaborative posts, I think we'd done like 25 posts on socials or even less. We had an email list of about 500 people that were like, so actually, yeah, it was 500 people that were like kind of invested from the very beginning. And I guess they could see like a clear fit for what it was going to do. And it was also leading up to Pacific Crest Trail and like the Triple Crown Trail season in the US as well, which is like quite a popular trail season. So of that list of 500, and like all we did was we shared content and just drove everyone and DM'd everyone that followed us to our email list, just straight to our email list basically. And the email list was a simple landing page saying that the product's kind of coming soon. And then all we did off the back end of that was just send one weekly email to everyone once a week, just with the full, authentic, everything that's happening behind the scenes and all that sort of stuff. So people kind of bought into the journey sort of that way. Because the biggest thing I've realized is followings and traffic mean nothing, like unless the conversion is there. And like, I think the email list is 100%, like the email is the sales platform, like it's the conversion platform. So yeah, that we did that, and we did 150 units on a list of 500 people, which is absurd. It's like more than a 25% conversion rate on an email list, which was super cool. But it just went to show that like obviously the people that were bought in and wanted to sign up for the email list kind of already knew that like it's something they were pretty interested in. So that's kind of how we launched, and then we sold out like that quickly because we planned, as you would have seen, we're doing a 7-day event. We've got 150 units available. And then you were just like, oh yeah, I'll get it on Sunday, and then by Saturday it was just gone.
Yeah, because I mean, I got one of your initial emails like 90% sold out. I'm like, oh, is this just, email marketing hype? But like literally it was gone. So
Yeah, I wrote, that was pretty funny as well. I was just like, it just took me straight back to like when Tim was doing his SSM launches back in the day, and we're all just like running to our laptop, and he's like, there's only 500 spots, and I was just like, I think the payment server crashed on Infusionsoft when I was trying to get in. I was like emailing support saying like, man, you better make sure to get me in. He's just there like just counting his millions of dollars. So funny.
even though
But yeah,
even though you saw it as like a cheat code, Hirsch, I think it's important for other people starting their e-commerce journeys as well that there is the opportunity to think outside the box and try to find someone you can work with the audience of the people that you want to sell to. I think that's like I think you've done it really well. You've partnered up with even you just mentioning all the people that you've got involved with the business. They all, sounds like from what you said, all share that common goal of adventure and would be like really good advocates for the product as well. So I think even though you see it as a cheat code, I see it as a really strong strategic move.
yeah, and I mean cheat code from the perspective of like having an audience kind of pre-built, but like to be honest, it wasn't even a strategic move. It was just like I just wanted to work with Cam because we're just like such good mates. Like we trust each other like crazy. We're like really close mates, and doing something together with him was just so much fun. And it was just like we kind of had the idea at the same time anyway. I mean, it turned out to be a good strategic decision if you want to call it that. But it was like I think it was, and that's the other big thing as well. Like it was just kind of born out of like authenticity. It was the same thing on that podcast I was telling you about, the Danny Buck and Frankie Lee one, where the guy that he ended up doing with Crafted Jewelry, he had an audience and he was a really good creative person. And like they just kind of reached out, connected on Instagram, caught up at like Nando's, and then like they were just like decide to do something together, like over like a like over like a sharing like half a chicken and chips kind of thing. So it's like, yeah, I think especially being on the entrepreneur side, like man, people with audiences and like content creators are amazing at creating content. But entrepreneurs and business people are amazing at business, and it's very rare to find someone who's incredible at business and an incredible content creator. And it's even more rare to find someone who's an incredible content creator and good at business. Like Cam is not a businessman in any way, shape, or form or sense of the word. And I'm not really a content creator in any way, like shape or sense of the word, but like I'm a fucking good entrepreneur and he's a fucking good content creator. So any entrepreneur, I reckon, that like wants to build a really awesome brand, like you could literally almost just like DM like whichever creator you want to work with and be like, I've got this amazing idea that I think you'd be so perfect for. Like, let's catch up. And at the end of the day, like just because I've got a big audience, man, like they're all just like literally regular people. It's like in the same way that I think people tend to put creators on a pedestal, but it's like in the same way that like an engineer is like really good at his job and like doesn't have any Instagram followers, like when a content creator is your job, like by being good at your job, you have to have lots of followers. So it's in like someone with a lot of followers is just someone who's good at their job, and you probably know billions of people that are just good at their job anyway. So it's like they're just normal people to catch up with, and then yeah, like because I think everyone's thought about monetizing. Well, not even thought about monetizing, but everyone wants to do more with the asset that they have, but have just got a massive inability to do so. And then you can kind of be that gap. So yeah, I think like there's a guy called Shan Hanif, the guy that did Newtonic with James Smith and Chris Williamson, and he's an absolute beast, man. Like he pioneered that model like 10 years ago.
Yeah, I
How
think
much?
it's important,
Sorry.
isn't it? Sorry, Jim. I was just going to say it's important having that with business partners is having complementary skills. You know, you see a lot
Massively.
of businesses fail because they have, you know, two operators or two salespeople. So yeah, I think you effectively use leverage very well, whether you realized it or not. You were able to have that synergy with your business partner Cam, and
Yeah,
yeah,
massively. I think yeah, and the complementary skill sets is like the biggest thing because like I think the two levers of leverage as well is like is audience like well it's skill, audience, and capital. Like I'm very grateful that I came from like the money that I created for myself through the agency sale, and he's got this like massive audience kind of thing. So it was yeah it was one of those things that kind of worked really well. I think starting an e-commerce brand like unless I mean, obviously, look, there's a billion different ways to do it, but I think it's something that like creating cash flow out of an e-commerce brand and paying yourself comes so far down the line, which is why I think starting as a service-based business is an amazing way to start your business career. But it's like playing the e-com game without some decent life runway and capital would be so brutal. Would be like I personally don't know or don't think I could do it.
Just you've mentioned Hirsch like a few podcasts and other people in the space that you've looked up to. How much would you say that you feel that you're kind of reinventing the wheel with what you're doing at the moment, or are you modeling successful kind of e-commerce stores that already exist?
I to be honest, I think that what we're doing is like fundamentally new and unique. And we're kind of going about it our own way. And the reason is like if it was my first business or I was just trying to create like a really good cash flow or capital, I just like do it for the money side of things. I would probably just go and just like, like follow a certain blueprint, like emulate like a process and just kind of do something that's like, I don't know, like I saw this insane ad for like a dog hair cleaning cloth the other day, and I was like, that guy's printing millions of dollars, but I'd like shoot myself in the face if I did like a product like that. But like obviously he's like making so much cash, right? But it was I think it was like because it was my second business, and like I kind of have again like don't get me wrong, I'm absolutely not set for life, but I've got some good life runway for a few years. So I was just like now doing things just for the cash, which there's literally nothing wrong with doing. It just didn't appeal to me at all. And I was like, because I'm grateful to be able to have the choice as to how I want to do it. I wanted to bring something like fundamentally new into the world, and that's why one of our core brand philosophies is like no me too products. Like if it exists already and it exists in abundance, like that is amazing. And like we're not gonna do fucking creatine or like just like some shit like that, even though it's a big market. But it's just like there are so many good creatine brands, and creatine is just about the same product like wherever you kind of go. Um, so yeah, it's like one of those things where we'd rather send traffic to another brand that does just a good creatine and then only create things that like are truly unique that serve our particular market like really well.
How much would you say that you've kind of had a foot up from the agency business? How many skills have transferred over into your e-commerce business in terms of more so the marketing side, more than the business operations side?
Yeah, so that's an interesting one because I was running a lead gen and like because I was learning primarily a lead gen and like brand like service business based brand asset building like company for service businesses. Like the biggest thing I realized is e-commerce is a completely different beast. So when I say I've never run a Facebook ads campaign before in my entire life, like my team used to, but I've never done that before. So I'm just like, bro, I was like boosting posts like a boomer today, and I was just like that's the level that I'm at on that sort of side of things. I under like I think the biggest thing that it gave me is like I can think very strategically about marketing as a whole, and I think the biggest skill that's transferred from being an agency is like I reckon any e-commerce brand like the biggest leg up that you have is if you can manage a team of internal marketers or a team of marketing contractors and build your own internal external agency and be the CMO inside your own business to manage them all. That is like the biggest leverage of all time. And I can do that because I literally ran a team of like 12 marketers. So I know how to coordinate marketers. I know how to report. I know what works, what doesn't. I know how long things take to click, those different kinds of things. Um, Also, it's more just like the manage, like maybe not so much the actual technicals of it, but just understanding the management of how projects in the marketing side of things kind of come together. So the website that we've got live for Optiventure at the moment is like it's not what you'd expect a typical first e-commerce website to be. Like it's a $25,000 website that's like really solid, you know, but that's just because I'd built like up to $200,000 websites or $300,000 websites like at my agency in the past. So I know the general workflow as to how like a really good website comes together. I know really good general mobile UX principles, desktop UX principles, conversion principles, all that sort of stuff. And I just had to like adjust the last 20% from going from lead gen to e-commerce. So I think to be fair, it is a huge leg up coming, but not because you know how to generate sales, because you know how the learning process and the project process works. That's the first thing. And the second thing is just like having been in business for like 9 years prior, you know that everything takes three times longer and is three times more expensive than you initially think. So just having that knowledge in the back of your head makes the journey a lot less painful because you when something blows out, you're not like stressing out. Like you're just like, well, of course that was going to happen. Like it's life.
I think a lot of people starting e-commerce businesses, I think like the first time that they get screwed is working with agencies. I think you've got a massive leg up in that too, and I think your BS detector would be pretty spot on being in that space
Yeah.
for so long as well. Also, like when I had a look at the V2 product launch, I landed on the product page. I'm like, this product page looks phenomenal. And I reached out to you. I'm like, Hirsch, who designed this, mate? You're like, yeah, that was me. Like I must have just, picked up those design skills from my agency days. So I can see how that side of things would definitely translate. And I ended up, I sent Charles the product page as well. I'm like, I would actually send this to my clients and be like, hey, if you're looking for a good product page, like here's one to model. Like it was at that level. So I think,
Oh, that's really awesome to hear. Well, I mean, look, we've only just started running ads 2 days ago. We haven't got a single conversion from them. So maybe the product page isn't as good as we all think.
I think,
It's certainly a little bit more advanced, though, isn't it, than like the
Yeah.
typical e-commerce stores that me and Jimmy usually come across when we're working with beginning brands that are just starting out. Yeah, it's you've
yeah,
definitely learnt a thing or two with the agency game.
I think, but and that's also like we had to do that because like the price point that we're selling at, like we're a direct competitor to David Beckham's new brand. We're a direct competitor to like Athletic Greens. We're a direct competitor to like we're selling at 150 Australian dollar for a 30-day supply. Like the product is so freaking good and it's so worth it. And like it just shits on anything else that's in the market. However, to the naked eye, to the normal person, like you can't really tell the difference like unless you know kind of what you're looking at or sort of what you're looking into, or you trust the people kind of behind it. So we had to come out with something that was like as premium as possible because we're just like we're kind of like we're playing in like the most competitive space in the biggest leagues, so we have to do something that's like crazy solid.
I think even just a few things you guys did on the product page as well. I mean, you had like a supplement stack that you would use previously and then compared your product to it. I could relate to that because I'm looking at that supplement stack and thinking I'm looking at majority of those supplements like in my cupboard
Yeah.
right now. So I think that was
Yeah.
a really, really good play. Like people can see straight away, okay, I can test this out as a substitute for everything else that I've got currently. So I thought that was a good move too.
Yeah, yeah, and that was the whole idea kind of behind the product as well, is in like we sort of realized that the mission kind of became a bit bigger than just being an on-trail supplement because we're just like most people take a lot of those supplements in their daily life, but either individually with no synergy, like it's hard to get into a routine, no nutrient timing, and like just little things like, some people probably like will take their iron supplement in the morning and then like drink a coffee straight afterwards, which like basically blocks your iron absorption by like 30 or 40%. It's like, and then some people will just like the other all-in-ones that are just like a morning only will deliver like 65 milligrams or 40 milligrams of like magnesium glycinate like first thing in the morning, where it's just like magnesium is good for you like any time of the day, but like magnesium glycinate in a big dose of like a couple hundred milligrams, like we've got 200 milligrams of elemental magnesium glycinate throughout the day with 100 milligrams of that being delivered before bed in the glycinate form. It's just like the impact that has on the body is so much more powerful than just dumping it in first thing in the morning. It's so we've designed the product in that way that like, and then we sort of realized that like it's so good for your trail life, but all of these things are very relevant for a regular life as well, because most people that are planning on marathons, ultra marathons, big hikes, mountaineering expeditions, like as opposed to being on trail for 8 hours a day, they're at work, so the mental stress is just still as high. And then they are basically like training once or twice a day while managing the rest of life anyway. So like the use case in regular life, we're just like, let's turn this into not just like it is number one, the trail supplement for people going on trail, and number two is like it's the daily all-in-one foundational supplement for the adventurer in whatever their daily adventures basically are.
I think that's definitely like a massive education point for you guys, and it's hard to get across sometimes, like the
So
therapeutic
hard.
dose needed for like for it to be effective. And the reason I say that, I have done some work in the collagen space, and I had family members that were taking supermarket collagen pills. And when you have a look at how much collagen is actually in that, I was like, if you use this collagen powder and have what they're suggesting, compared to you would have to take 22 of these pills to have like the same level as what you needed to have it like a therapeutic dose. And they're like, what? I'd have to take 22 of these supplements for it to be effective. I'm like, yeah, there's hardly anything in there. And I think that's the battle as well. Like, I think you guys are going after a very specific market that is probably more health conscious and around nutrition for long trails and things like that. But the everyday person that, wants this for, like myself, for example, I don't know all the therapeutic doses for everything. So I don't know the advantage of taking like this supplement over like my own supplement stack, for example. I think it's a hard education piece, but I think longer term, if you can, how do you guys even start to do that? Do you mention it in your email flows? Are you going to do it in ads or?
That is exactly what I'm trying to figure out right now. As I said, I've been running ads for a couple of days. I think it was like it wasn't a problem worth figuring it, because like I'm massively of the opinion is to like just focus on the next step,
Yeah.
get to that next destination, and then worry about the next thing afterwards. But if you start worrying about like the thing after the first like checkpoint you need to get to, you won't get to the first checkpoint. So like, let's have a successful launch. We knew from that it was just going to be like early adopters, and not even so much early adopters, people that had trails coming up in the next six
Yeah.
months. This is gonna be their main customer. So let's speak to them. And as a trail supplement, like the good thing is as a trail supplement, like our space is wide open because we're the only one that exists, and like no one else can now come into it because we've just done it so well. So like it's one of those things where as a trail supplement, it's very easy to understand because most like 99.9% of people going on their adventures don't take supplements on trail because it's way too hard to manage, but that's kind of where they need it most. So on that side, the education, you almost don't need education on the trail supplement side of things just because it's the only one that exists that's just so purpose built. But now transitioning into a daily life supplement, that's where the payoff is huge, like from a business perspective, because obviously, like then you get subscription revenue and all that sort of stuff. But the challenge is massive because now all of a sudden you're going up against everything else. And it's funny. So we probably had 25 to 30% of people buy version 2 so far for daily use, like not on trial, and then the other 70% are using it for like trial, like trial life. And then like I emailed, I mean, didn't email you because I knew we were gonna have this chat anyway, but I emailed every single customer that basically bought version 2. And I was just asking them just everything about what they're using it for, what adventures they got next, and the insights were just amazing. Like that one-to-one interaction with every customer is just priceless when it comes to like truly understanding.
I don't think
Yeah.
enough business. I don't think enough business owners do that, and I know the business owners that I work with that do that. And some, like even one I was speaking to the other day, they're doing over $1 million a month easily. But if they have a drop in sales one day, they're ringing everyone that kind of made it to the cart but didn't purchase and like, hey, like what stopped you from completing your purchase? Is there something we could do better? Like they're always looking to improve, and I think that's really the difference between the guys that continue to grow and the guys that just kind of plateau at the same point. If you looking back on what you've done at the moment, Hirsch, if you were at the point you're at now, if you were to speak to yourself when you were starting out, like what advice or would you give yourself, or what would you change that you would potentially speed things up for you doing it the second time round?
Oh, that's a good question. Like as cheesy as it sounds, I would literally say just put one foot in front of the other and trust the process. Like I've kind of gotten rid of the whole like I've sort of figured out like all the information that I need will come to me at the right time based on kind of where I'm going. So, but the one thing that I would say, and credit to I don't know if he's going to listen to this or not, but I'm just going to put it out to the universe anyway. But my mate Lockie, he runs like another four drive. He runs a four drive accessories brand, and he was quite surprised as to why we weren't running ads, like even just for email signups and like just traffic ads to just get people like onto our content to grow the email list and that kind of thing. Just based on the 2 days of ads that I'm running now, I'm just like I should have just been spending just $10 a day or $15 a day from the very beginning of like documenting the journey of just getting interested people following the journey and just DMing them and interacting one to one to one to one with every single person. Because I reckon we could have had like an email list that might have been like 3 times as big for a 3 times as big launch if we were just spending that money on like a month to month basis, just even running simple follow campaigns, like just putting out because the content that we're putting out from the very beginning was strong because Cam's a strong content creator. So we just boosted those to like the right audiences in the US, Australia, Europe, and like New Zealand, and just got people following the page, and then built one-to-one interactions with everyone. I think we could have had an even bigger launch. So that's probably that's the biggest thing that I wish that I kind of did. Um, yeah, there was definitely that is the one thing that I would change, like knowing what I know now.
Hirsch, how are you kind of prioritizing what marketing channels you kind of start with? Obviously, you talked about, email, uh, Cam with, his big social media presence, but like, are you trying to be omnipresent and doing everything at once? Or are you like, okay, I know that we need to focus on ads to start with, scale them, then add SEO on top? Like, how are you do you have like a systemized approach to how you're going about things and growing those channels?
Yeah, so actually another thing that I'll say from the beginning is like in the same way that we started SSM with Tim and they kind of gave us a blueprint on how to build a service business. I did join Ryan Daniel Moran's like program, the 12 months to 1 million program, and in his process is very much like organic content, email lists, get 100 people, launch the product, nurture everyone one to one. And then, once you start getting some regular sales and some reviews and that kind of thing, then and only then start running ads and start doing influencer reach out and that sort of stuff. So it's been a pretty good framework to follow, and I think that we followed it pretty closely. So now it really, because we've got a very like it's our market is niche, but it's very scattered. Like there's millions of people that like really love outdoor adventure, but they're scattered like all over the world. There's not one spot where you'd find like 3 million of them. It's like you'll find 3 or 5 million of them like scattered throughout like 50 different countries around the world, kind of thing. So it's it's a bit of a and also the other thing about outdoor adventurers is like the amount of research, because I know the amount of research that I do on a single piece of gear before I buy something is massive. And because this is almost like the supplements is almost like gear as well. We almost have to do a combination of so right now I'm prioritizing getting an organic content flywheel just continuing to go. Our goal is to post like good quality stuff 4 to 5 times per week or 3 to 4 times per week, but like good, not just shit posting, like good quality stuff. Because we have got like a sizable audience of about 4,000 people on our Instagram now that are quite engaged, which is cool. And that's been a good growth channel because Cam's quite big on Instagram as well. From there, it's just building one-to-one connections and getting people onto the email list. The other thing that we prioritized early was building a Facebook community, just because like everyone in the supplement space said, like, when it comes to supplement brands and when it comes to these like brands that have like is very like supplements are very massive space but super competitive, isn't like it just comes down to your brand and your community basically. And because our community is like all into the one thing, like nurturing and building a really awesome community was like a big priority for us. So that organic content, emails and Facebook is just gonna I'm just gonna continue building that flywheel. But right now the very next thing is like is cracking the cold traffic puzzle, because I know there's a solution to the cold traffic puzzle. Like I know that, but right now I'm prioritizing like all of my brain power in trying to like solve cracking the cold paid traffic side of things. SEO is going to take care of itself because there's no real keyword search volume for what we do. Like, I mean, obviously, I'm a very much an SEO native from the lead gen days. So the first thing that I did was I was just like supplements for travelers, supplements for hiking, blah blah blah. I was like 70 searches like around the world. I was like, well, this sucks.
Yeah.
So it was just like there was no point. But I mean, obviously, did all the best SEO best practices and that kind of thing onto the website, just so when people land there, or that for any last little things that they kind of sort of squeeze through. But we know that's not going to be a massive channel for a while. And also as a brand new brand, um, we're lucky enough to have owned the trade, like own the entire search term for Optiventure. Like nothing exists on the internet that's called
Yeah, I
Optiventure.
saw that. Looks like you're pretty much covering that first page.
Well,
Yeah.
we're covering all the pages because like there's not a
Yeah.
single listing for that one keyword, which is brilliant. So, but no one knows our brand, and there's no real search volume for what we kind of do. So, building that up over time, I think we're going to win by branded search in the future. But right now, it's just prioritizing cracking the cold traffic puzzle and also doing very strategic and solid, like very aligned influencer seeding as well. Because the other big thing in the hiking and outdoor adventure space is like everyone looks to YouTubers, Instagrammers, and creators for their gear lists, for their advice, and for their content. So we need to get like 10, 20, 30 really awesome influencers that like love our product. I mean, actually, there's a whole bunch of influencers that already love our product as well. So just figuring out the best way to kind of do it. So it's very much authoritative organic marketing and cold traffic. But like, oh, I dream of the day that we crack the cold traffic side of things, man.
Just bouncing it, like I just had a few ideas, Hirsch. Like, first, like I think the organic side or SEO, you probably first up anyway, you're probably not going after those trail supplement ideas. You're probably more going after your target audience, so creating resources around the trails people are wanting to do. Because some of the trails that you guys would talk about, like only those kind of elite level people would even attempt some of them. So having like SEO resources around, the best trails, the best things to take, that kind of stuff, and kind of getting them on an email list around more the adventure side of it, and then introducing your supplement at a later point. I think that would work like really well. Like even someone like myself, if I was going for a hike somewhere, the first thing I'm doing is researching that place. You almost want to be that resource that people are going to, because then you're finding your ideal market for people wanting to explore all these places, and then like through your email list you can introduce them to your actual product. I think I always do this with e-commerce businesses when they're starting out and need that kind of organic push, especially on Meta. We always launch with a giveaway, but the key to doing a giveaway is I don't think you'd want to be giving away the supplement. I think you'd want to be giving away like a almost a trail adventure with the founders, for example. And in exchange for that, like to enter, they may have to like post a photo of the supplement at the top of the highest mountain they've been this year or something like that. You could run like a really long campaign like that and then just start getting a whole bunch of user created content for your brand. But then if Cam's like you said, Cam's a really big authority in your space, you could almost leverage that to, hey, we're going to invite one person from our audience to come and do this adventure with us. Here's the promotion. This is how you enter. You guys have got 6 months to do it. So go out there and explore some peaks and take some photos with the product. So they're just the top of mind for those things that you mentioned. They're probably
Idea, man. That is yeah. We need to like take it off the podcast and chat about that a bit more because that sounds awesome. That's a really cool idea. And going back to what you're talking about, the regional guides. So that's something that we're working on because that was actually the idea as to how that would work with paid ads as well. We're lucky because like realistically, there's like Australia, New Zealand, Europe, and like America, Canada. We've all got our seasons. So like right now we're in the middle of Nepal season for everywhere. The next season is like Patagonia in South America. The next one's the American Triple Crown season. The next one's like, back to European summer, so Camino de Santiago, Tour de Mont Blanc, those kinds of seasons. So we're going to create like a dedicated landing page with like the ultimate guide to every single one of those regions.
I think that's your
Introducing,
SEO strategy, definitely. Like
yeah,
you do so well off that, I think.
yeah. So and then like just designing the landing pages also because the thing is everyone is looking for the things that are going to help them on those adventures so that we can actually run paid ads to being like if you're going to Nepal this October, like this is you want to consider this. Like Nepal is notorious for gut issues, altitude sickness, and this and this and this. We've designed a formula specifically for that helps with this and this and this. Check it out, and then like driving that traffic to the Nepalese landing page that's like super legit with like shop nows and stuff like that on there. So it's actually I was in my deep work session for tomorrow or the day after. I was actually going to put together like a big Nepal thing because that's the yeah. So I think over the next 6 months, hopefully we'll go through and build out like 20 or 30 of those pages and then like slowly just keep driving traffic to those pages.
Yeah, sounds good. I think we haven't really on the show, we haven't really spoken about competitions. I come from a competition background before I even
Yeah.
entered SSM. I think I won like over 120 grand in cash and prizes off Facebook competitions. So
That's
I
so
kind
good.
of I fell in love with that for launching brands. But there's a
Yeah.
good way to do it and there's a bad way to do it. The worst way to do it is offering a cash giveaway because you're not attracting your ideal customer, you're attracting everyone because everyone wants to win cash, right? So the thing that you want to focus in on to do a giveaway really well is making sure the prize is so specific that only your audience would actually want it. For example, let's say that I can't imagine that you're going to be getting like overweight people entering a competition to like trek like a massive mountain, for example.
Yeah. 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 Dude, that is honestly such a good idea. And it would just be so much fun. We'll just pick like something that's kind of like probably like maybe even just like the Annapurna circuit in Nepal, which is like 14 days, but it's like, fairly challenging, but like, it's not super difficult. Or maybe just something like, yeah, we just pick a wicked trek and just being like, yeah, like, and yeah, we
You
do like
can,
a 6 month competition kind
yeah,
of
I was about
thing.
to say you can run the competition for a really long time, and that's like kind of that's your 6 months to grow your list organically, like massively.
Mm. And then at the end of the day, people aren't just going to buy like, yeah, you wouldn't get people buying a $150 product to like enter a competition they didn't really actually want to win. And the only reason they actually want to win that is because they're the kind of person that loves big outdoor adventures.
It also rewards your customers already. So a lot of the
Yeah.
early adopters, they're probably going to already be promoting it. And some of them may be early adopters because, they love Cam or his community and they would love to do something like that with him if it was an option. So
Mm.
you just turn your early adopters into your brand advocates, basically.
That is a sick idea. I love that.
Coach, have you thought about in the future looking at, like retail partnerships or aligning yourself with, thinking like clothing brands? Like, is that something that you vision that the brand will expand, or do you think you'll think you'll focus specifically on supplements and kind of partner with potential companies or align with potential companies that are best fitted to kind of outdoor trail and kind of hiking.
Yeah, so I think what we want to do, like I'm trying to be very disciplined in saying that like Optiventure is not an e-commerce brand, it's a brand. So like e-commerce is just a channel. Like my dream is to be in like every REI in America, every backcountry in America, every Paddy Palin, every specialist adventure store across New Zealand and in Australia and Europe and that kind of thing as well. Because like I think what our unique opportunity is like the health shop shelf space is just crowded with competitors, but the adventure shop shelf space for supplements is completely
Yeah.
empty. So we
Yep.
want to be like, we just want to be so synonymous with that industry and introduce such specific, amazing stuff that we can be the only supplement in every outdoor shop around the world, which would be like crazy. So like literally like my dream, and I think it'll happen given enough time, would be to have like a Singapore holding company that owns the Australian company, that owns the European company, that owns the US company, and where we've got a localized presence across every single one of those regions, mainly in retail. Because like I think in the US, like 70 something percent of supplement sales are still driven in stores. And like the online supplements market in the US is so gigantic. So it just goes to show that like, man, like 3/4 of the sales of a supplement happens at shops, which is so insane.
Wow.
Yeah. Because like I was listening to a podcast on that the other day and I was just like, I mean, it's on a podcast. I don't know if it's true or not, but I was like, even if it's half true, it's like you're just, even if 50% of the sales are happening in stores, it's like, that's like, and that's in shops, not even on Amazon. So it's like, I think that in store, and I know that every single time that I've bought nutritional products for my expeditions as well, I've typically done it in store, like typically done it in store because like, I just assume that all the brands that Paddy Palin has in stock are really good for outdoor adventure. And now I know that they're not because they're just the only brands that are bold enough to be in Paddy Palin.
Yep.
So it's one of those things where I think retail is going to be massive for us, and I want to try and like speed run that process as fast as humanly possible. Um, and then also not just retail, but I think there'll be like genuine crossover between like all the different other things in the outdoor adventure industry. Like whether we do clothing collabs or not, I'm not really too sure about that. It would just be like, but I could totally see a world because like our whole thing is just like thriving on like our whole mission is to like help adventurers thrive on trail and reach their summits. So like reach their summits is like not just a summit of a mountain, but like reach your personal summit in life, right? So like I mean, very 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 needed and adjacent, a very needed and like adjacent product like that still helps people thrive on trail is like just a really compact, epic trail first aid kit, for example. It's not a supplement, but like it directly contributes to health and wellness on trail. So it's like kind of going to there, and then you do the first aid kit, then you do first aid education, then you do all these different kinds of things. It's like, so yeah, it's definitely going to go like over a 10-year time frame, like beyond supplements, and like man, if someone from REI is listening to this, like just like let's talk and get in every single shop because the thing is we're already driving traffic to them. Like I was actually gonna cold call a bunch of New Zealand retailers in the next couple of weeks and return to my cold calling roots because like
Yeah.
we've got a number of
Sales King comes out again.
Yeah.
yeah, oh dude, and that's I think like if I'm being honest, man, the other thing that I realized is like I enjoyed so many parts of running an agency almost more than I enjoy running an e-com brand because it was very people to people
Yeah.
interaction. Whereas like e-commerce can be very on the screen behind the numbers. And like I'm such a person to person kind of a guy. So I think because we've had a few people in Europe email us wanting to buy like 6 packs, which is like, that's like nearly that'd be a 750 Australian dollar purchase of OptiVenture. Um, which is a big purchase for a supplement because they're hiking the Tararoa in New Zealand, which is like a 5 6 month trail, 4 5 month trail. But they're in the Netherlands, and right now, so we're shipping globally, but the import duties to the Netherlands and all of Europe is like 21% VAT, which is brutal. So it's like they're going to be paying an extra $150 on top of that to basically get the product in. So they're just like, do you have any shipping points that we can ship parcels to in New Zealand? Ahead of the Tararoa season because like we'd rather just ship it there and just have it there waiting for us. And I'm like, now this opens up opportunities for a lot of adventure gear shops in Auckland and Queenstown to stock our stuff, because we know there's 5,000 people coming into these towns every single year to hike that trail. And by next year, they'll all know about Optiventure, and no one wants to pay the VAT. So it's like, can we either stock them in shops or pay them like a small fee to be a shipping point for us? So yeah, man, actually talking to you boys is getting me jacked up. It's very exciting.
I
It's
think
very exciting.
I think the person to person stuff, Hirsch, will be your competitive advantage because, like you said, other e-commerce stores, well, I wouldn't say all of them, but the majority of them don't do it. And I think it's a massive missed opportunity. And I can already see how they could advantage massively just how you've approached it. Like, there's things that I wouldn't even have thought to have done that you've already implemented. So I think, yeah, if you play to your strengths, you'll be fine. And I think I know you're a people's person. And but you also earlier on in this episode, you also mentioned, I just believe that things will come my way when I need them. I think you put yourself in those positions for them to come your way because I know that I've seen some of your posts on LinkedIn or social content, and you're not afraid to ask for what you need help with or what you want or if someone can introduce you to someone. Not enough people do it. And like people that know you know you're a legend. And if you put out something like that, if they can help you, they will. Like they will reach out and like, yeah, Hirsch, I know this person. I'll get you in touch. So I think that's something
Well,
that not enough people do. Like actually ask for help and
yeah.
put it out there what they actually need help with.
Yeah, and that's something that's been drummed into me from like kind of back in the day, like as well. Of just like, man, if you don't know how to do something, it's like I think the book is called Who Not How by Dan Sullivan, and he just talks about like just always ask who, never ask how, because like there is someone that solved the problem better than you could ever solve it, and they're just a conversation away. And but then also I've just been mind blown by the kindness of the whole community, man. Like for example, when for example you Jimmy, you heard that I kind of started this brand, you basically reached out to me on Messenger going like, hey man, I've been doing like ecom ads for a decade. If you need any help with anything, let me know. And then like another legend from the SM back in the day, like Cam Watson, he was just like, dude, like I've been managing this ecom brand doing mega numbers in the US for like a couple years now. Like, this is my game. Happy to have a call and just break down exactly everything you need to think about, that kind of thing. He then actually came on board potentially to help us out with the operations sort of side of things. He's obviously got other priorities in life, so it didn't work out kind of like long term, but we still like chat pretty much every second day. So it's just been good, like just yeah, receiving all the help from everyone. And I try and give it back as much as I possibly can to anyone that I can. But it's been really cool, and I think that like yeah, just yeah, it's weird. It's like I don't yeah. Everyone thinks that asking for help is like a weakness, but I'm just like that's literally how the world runs, man. You
I
know?
agree. I'm with you. Like if I need help with something, I usually know the person I can ask that can put me in touch with who I need. But I love how I need to probably even be more open with it because I see how open with it you are, and I see the responses you get too. I'm like, Hirsch is going to get to speak to the person he wants to speak to within the next week, just from this one post. So,
Yeah, that's come true time and time again, and like in the craziest ways you can even imagine. Like I don't even know how it happened, but like I went like Nimsdai is like the world's most famous mountaineer and one of my fucking heroes. And I read his book in 2021, and then like literally 3 years later, we were like skydiving out of a plane together and like
it's
in
nuts.
like over Everest, like just such a ridiculous full circle turn of events of just like just basically just yeah just talking shit like with everyone and trying to be as helpful as you can all the way until like these crazy unplanned things kind of happen. So yeah, I think it's just like asking for help is definitely a superpower. But then it's also just having the discernment to know like you still have to know what you're doing. I think the more competent you become skills wise, the more comfortable you are asking for help, because even if you're not skilled at it, you've got a bit of a sixth sense as to kind of how it works. Like I'm not a bookkeeper or an accountant, but because I ran my own, like because I ran the agency for 9 years, like I know how to read a P&L, I know tax accounting, I know bookkeeping, I know cash flow management, I know these kinds of things like or from a strategic perspective, not a technical perspective. So if you're asking someone and they're spitting some bullshit, you can just like you don't have to call it out, but you can see through it pretty quickly because you're like I guess you've got like a high level competency at things.
Absolutely. I can't believe it, Hursh, but we're almost up on the hour. So, where can people go if they want to find yourself or the brand?
So yeah, it's at Hursh Dodhia-Shah on Instagram. But definitely, yeah, just optiventure.co. Start using it in your daily life. It is the best supplement of 2025 and beyond. And if you're training for any big adventures or any big events, like myself and Jimmy always are, and Charles hopefully is gonna become a subscriber after this as well.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, it blows everything else out of the water. So yeah, just go and check it out. It's pretty cool.
Hursh, thanks so much for joining us, man. We appreciate your time. And I think a lot of people just starting out their e-commerce journey will kind of get an insight into, I think people go into e-com thinking it's going to be like real easy. I think it's quite evident how much work you put in at the early stages and kind of what's expected at that level to kind of start on that journey to build a really big, not just an e-commerce brand, but a brand in general. So thanks so much for joining us tonight, man. Appreciate it. And yeah, you've got two new fans of the brand here, and I can't wait to test out the product when it comes, hopefully. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I can't
thanks
wait for you
again
to
for
join.
joining us, man.
Awesome. That was yeah.